Ladies and gentlemen, we are on Parabellum for map 2. I will update the overlay in a moment. This is a map by Doglived with BDB helping out a little bit, so I heard. Now the green Zerg, bottom left, it's going to be ArbuzBudesh up against the eggshell blue Askosi. And of course, HitEmUp is going for that instantaneous radix. Well, not exactly instantaneous. It's a 7 radix. Not exactly instantaneous. He's won that first game on Rage Slave, was pretty perfunctory there. Wasn't able to post much of a defense. We'll see if Arbuz wants to change up his style here going into the next one. I do feel like the colors overall of Askosi, I see people typing in the chat about green looks good on Askosi, according to Kutyam. And I think it does, yeah, but honestly, the only concern I would have is if it's like midnight green or dark forest green or whatever, it's going to be very eerily close to one of the colors we actually put on their materials when rendering out models for them, which not every unit is a model. Some of them are just sprites from other games, which we greatly appreciate those other games for either being abandonware or for actually allowing us directly to use them. Like Black Chain was one that allowed us to use their portraits. Obviously, Five Nations allowed us to use their graphics in general. Very cool stuff. Actually, funnily enough, Five Nations originally had animated portraits for their units, and Voyager, from the Start.net community, was going to process them. But I feel like he just gave up on that. I can't remember why. Too bad, though. We could always use more portraits, I'll tell you that much. Now, the Hydra Den is complete for Arbuz. He is clearly going for a more, firepower pack-in style here. Wants to make sure that he can defend himself versus the untold amounts of Askosi bio that are going to be coming his way. And look at this, a grandstand at the ramp because he scouts out that it's a Hydrath opener. But a Hydralisk first is probably not what HitEmUp was initially expecting. Though I do think that you do want to go for Hydras more than you want to go for Izira cores in the early game, because if they go Missionary or Rove, they both have Impact Dissipation, this passive that makes it so that they move faster when damaged and they heal a small amount of health. So typically, if you're doing only a small amount of damage but to a lot of targets, it's kind of like how you don't want to make Izira cores against Simulacrum unless you can get a lot of Izira cores, So that can be pretty powerful there. He garrisons the missionaries. I love it. Now, the Cypher is on the way, which is an interesting choice. He's double teching here. I think we might be seeing him rushing to tier 2 bio, which would be pretty amusing. Expansion already coming for Arbuz as he scouts the static defense here. Currently, I believe, let's see.
Birds in the sky!
Oh.
Class 4 prison sends its regards.
This man donated 10 RON. What the hell is a RON, guys? Thank you for the donation, George. And I don't know what that equates to, but I appreciate it, I appreciate it. It's money. It is money. It is money. It's a super chat as well. Okay, this is George, you are my first YouTube super chatter. I hope you feel very, very happy about that. You are the bird in the sky, according to the Wyvern voice acting. Avaleth here with nothing in it. Just going to be used for a scout, plus maybe a little bit of a drop fake out. And there it is, the Proscenium. Tier 2 Biotic on the way for HitEmUp. Throws down 2 of them. I'm guessing he's just going to make a lot of Aphorists. That's my guess. Macro Hatch on 2 base. Pilgrim gets bullied by the Hydra. Cannot be saved. That's pretty brutal. He didn't have vision up this little piece here. And then he walked up and there was a cardinal in his face and a bunch of missionaries just unloaded. You know what, if you guys, I don't know if you guys listen to podcasts very much or whatever. I feel like everybody does. Oh, nice little read on that. Of course, nothing in it, so this isn't consequential. I can go back to my podcast talk. But I feel like there's this one podcaster, Michael Malice, and he's really funny. Not quite a comedian, but pretty close. And somebody donates to him with like money from a country that isn't, it's not a euro and it's not I think even he does it for euros, actually. He's probably pretty American focused, but if somebody donates and it's not in USD, he's like, get out of here with your third world money. And I just, I don't really ever think, yeah, that's the appropriate thing for me to say when somebody just gave me money. But I almost admire the gall that he has, you know what I mean? Like, there it is, the first Aphorist is on the way. And The second Aphorist is on the way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see some Aphorists. They have a quad shot, and it does a little arc like the Phalanx. It's pretty neat visually. Pilgrim moving across the map now to see what it can scout. And HitEmUp actually is behind in workers. This is looking like a pretty meaty amount of Hydrith units. The Vicar count is okay. If we can get up to, 4 Aphorists, we'll be pretty comfortable on the hold here. One more Vicar as well certainly won't hurt. Tethith Swamp on the way. I believe this is before the Tetzoricors and the Zarkavicors lost their armor pen on the Bones of Reflection attack. There it is. Just levy him in. Get him. Get him. All right, it's fine. You can wait. With more Aphorists on the way, I do feel like Arbuz is in for a difficult attempt at breaking that position, if that's what he wants to do. You can see that he's capped his ridge inside the natural, but not the main base, which is a classic. I don't really know why people do that sometimes, but could have been mining gas from that ridge the whole time. Silly Arbuz. Not very much mining going on here for HitEmUp, but he does have a pretty powerful blob of tier 2 and tier 1 mix. Let's see what he wants to get done here. He's ranging him down. I still think that this could backfire. This could backfire if we get some frontliners that can actually, hold the attack. Tetzoricors are on the way. That's definitely one way to do it. 5 of them. Very, very heavy play here from Arbuz. He wants to just try to slow this army down. But you can see it getting flattened by all the splash damage, and that might have been a mistake to allow. Feels like he was in a really good spot to just, power through. Do we have anything that can peel off? I guess Vicars can, slow the enemy and then walk away. That's something that they can definitely do. And, it's only 5 Teths, so I think it's a possibility that you can kind of split them up. But now we have the attempted flank coming in. The Chadricor sauntering forward. And that's going to be a lot of splash damage. He's really got to respect that. He's not walking back at all, and certainly not using any of his abilities either. He kills 1 Tetzoricor, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Back at home, masked up. He's got extra proscenium, starting to add the Thomologs. They've got a little bit of armor pen. They'll be able to be a bit more useful. But really what it feels like he needs right now is avatars to put down the armor end on the individual Tetzoricors. Maybe even, dare I say, hijack the Tetzoricors. Might be a better choice. We're adding a lot of Bactyls, though. This is before armor end was implemented. Oh, okay. So, yeah, that makes it a lot harder. What's up, Smarty? Buff Zerg? Why would I do that? Zerg is the hardest race until you learn how to play Cosmonarchy, and then it's the easiest race. I think they're in the perfect sort of Schrodinger's spot right now. I don't think there's any concern here whatsoever. Adding a function, interesting. I wonder if that's for object or something. A couple functions being added here. So the Thomolog does have 2 armor pen. Pretty legit. I feel like they'll be able to range down the Teths nicely enough. We are in a legit game, but HitEmUp did admittedly, it seems like he deliberately tried to just do a funny, greed build to get up to tier 2 really fast. So Arbuz taking advantage of that with a Hydra's composition. He's got his Bactyls out for that bounce damage. You got to watch out for how many times they shoot in from max range, because they will end up bouncing all of these targets, and there's no sustain here with this composition. We don't have any mimics for corpse consumption. We don't have any... obviously, Fontis wasn't implemented at this point, but that's all right. The reason why the HitEmUp doesn't make a Fontis isn't because it wasn't implemented yet. It's because he's bad. That's why. 11 Hydras being made per rotation. We got that 3rd base up for the Zerg, and it's only now being started at the 3 o'clock position for HitEmUp. The first Mimic has arrived. Finally using the Cypher for something other than just grabbing an extra little bit and bob from the tier 2. Intendant's on the way as well for that armor pen. Pretty good choice there. He's clumped up, though. He's very clumped up, and he definitely needs to respect that a little bit more. Oh, no. Oh, no. The first fight not taken very well. And that will be a cancel on that base at 3. At least a halt, or, A couple Pilgrims trying to sneak by. Nah, I don't think so, buddy. Yeah, and it does indeed get full canceled. So, not going to just be waylaid there for a while. Couple more Intendants on the way. He's making a few more. I like the idea. A couple Pilgrims trying to move up to 12, but there's a Hydra already watching. I guess you could Worker Uprising that guy. Yeah, that's exactly what HitEmUp is trying to do. Arbuz is slowly panning over there. Ooh, Skeptic Cores are coming out. Now, the army does end up catching them, which is pretty good. Obviously, as you can see, Aphorists do not shoot up, but the Thomologs and the Vicars will be more than enough. Oh, no! Get him! He only has a little bit of health that he's missing. No, I guess not. Grandstand, Landlock. Okay. More Intendants are out. I actually think the Intendant count here is looking pretty respectable, but we need to see a better fight than what HitEmUp took in the previous one. Yeah, I think that the Intendants will... Intendant Vicar combo, where the Vicar slows down the unit and then the Intendant, you know, deals extra damage to it because of the fact that he's got armor. That's a pretty good combo there. Starting to get that mining up, getting back into the worker count there. You can see Arbuz is kind of slowed down there. Ooh, Mimic Aphorist? Hell yeah, dude, sign me up. Mimic Vicar is pretty good too, though, to be honest. It's a good little army positioning, but he does need to watch out because this bridge is about to be his undoing. Got Skits and a bunch of ground army moving in on multiple fronts here. Can HitEmUp get out with his army? Or at least do enough damage to, you know, force Arbuz to remake it. He's actually diving through. This is probably the best case scenario for him, because if he can just consolidate all of his DPS into one spot here, he loses the Mimic very early on. But now here comes in the flank, and oh, baby, it's a war on multiple fronts. And I don't think the Askosi are winning. Sandwiched between a rock and a hard place, a whole lot of dead homies. Dead lizard people. Zerg here. Now, we do have some units over here. If you made the bounty guys earlier, auto win. Talking about the Intendants, I guess. But I want to try tier 2, says HitEmUp. And it's true. He does want to try tier 2. He must be very happy now that tier 2 is more mostly implemented. Everything from bio, all but one unit from, you know, mech and air. Hydra unburrows, but just gets blasted by the grandstand. However, this does maybe telegraph, yeah, exactly this, exactly where the army is going, and HitEmUp is a little bit slow to rotate over. He's going to lose a lot of workers in the process. Grandstands are pretty durable, but they do go down pretty quickly when you're focusing them down with all this stuff, and perhaps more to the point, had a lot worse of a deal going on there with all the worker focus. And the Tetzoricors, they're keeping them alive versus the Intendants long enough to deal the necessary damage. Still, it's a pretty good, you know, cost efficiency after all. The problem is he lost to third base, and he's not auto-winning the fight, so looking pretty bad there in that respect. Just trying to make as many Thomologs as he can, as many Aphorists for the ground army. Honestly, it's kind of working out for him in that way, but so many dead workers. That being said, Arbuz is at the same worker count. It's just that he's still up a base. I like how his two Tets were over here. That they could have helped swing the fight a little bit more in the Zerg's favor. Good grief. Okay, saved. Saved, boys. We're still in this. Askosi still stay winning, right? Wink? Bunch of Hydras, bunch of Iziricors, and of course a bunch of Tetzoricors. 2 more functions being added to try to use that mech. If HitEmUp wins from here, I guess I can never be surprised when HitEmUp wins, but I was expecting him to just kind of keel over at that point. His army's still working, still doing the shooty. This might be even before the Thomolog passive was implemented, actually. I don't think that Arbuz is going to have any problems clearing this ramp. Do we have any significant reinforcements for standing army? The numbers here are falling a little bit too quickly. Yeah, and GG has to be called. HitEmUp knows he's been routed. He did not have the force to deal with the Arbuz. So that will be a game 1 for our Zerg player. I'll go ahead and throw it up there for posterity. In that game, I think we mostly saw that the Tier 2 rush doesn't have the production capacity behind it to really make matters work for the Askosi. It's interesting, though, and I'm glad to see Arbuz get on the board versus such a strategy. There will be more Askosi versus Zerg action soon, I'm sure. GG.